it stopped. I think it's a network, Lulu's network. Lulu's network. Collab network. Excellent connection. That's crazy. I don't know. Cause everybody just they come. It's obvious. Okay, so we're talking about the Terraform concepts. Those that is the providers, the resources, variables. Okay, sources, variables, states, and modules. Right. So let's start with the providers. As you say, the provider is written like this. Is how like a plugin that allows Terraform to talk to the cloud provider. So it's written like this. You can write it in Azure or AWS or GCP. So this is a provider. It's like it's a plugin, basically what I said, that allows Terraform itself to talk to the cloud platform. Then we have the resources, the actual infrastructure we want to create. Right. EMI is like the type of image you want to use. The Amazon image, machine image. So this is the instance type. What type of instance I do want to create? Is it T2 micro, a T1 micro, sorry, T3 micro, a T2 medium? Just a template. This is the actual infrastructure you'll be creating. Let's say T2 micro. Mm, So then we'll talk about the variables. They are what they like how coding is like variables they hold something, so it's what makes the code reusable. So we're creating like a variable called instant type that is for the T2 micro. So we'll say variable say instant type. Let's write it inside instant type. um, Default goes to T2 T2 dot micro. Yeah, micro to micro. Then we have the state. We have the state. This is important. It's like sort of like a small memory. It's allows them say is how Terraform keeps a state files. That is how it tracks what exists in your infrastructure, right? This is how Terraform knows what to create, update, or destroy. That's what state is, right? Then modules help you organize, reorganize Terraform code. So those are the basic Terraform concept, right? So now we'll just give a short intro into Ansible. So Terraform is really good for provisioning, creating the infrastructure itself. While Ansible, on the other hand, is great for configuration management, meaning that meaning that it helps in installing softwares in the infrastructure, updating the configuration of the infrastructure, and deploying applications. So, for example, when Terraform creates a VM, right? I've created a VM. Ansible installs Nginx in that VM. It installs that reverse proxy Nginx. So imagine you have your system and like Terraform has created your system configuration. Then Ansible is what installs the applications inside that your system. Like if you want to install a game, it's Terraform that installs. I mean Ansible that installs it inside the infrastructure Terraform built. So now let's talk about and it works well, very well with Terraform. They work hand in hand. Let's talk about Ansible playbook. So a playbook is like Ansible's recipe, right? It tells Ansible how Terraform code tells Terraform want to create as an infrastructure. Ansible playbook tells Ansible what to install and configure, right? So let me give an example. Just write, just write in this file. Let me give an example. So let's just create like an Ansible file. Let's just call it um, let's say config. Let's just say config. Or let's just name it playbook. 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 Dot YAML. Right. So now let's just let's just create. Just let me just give an example of an Ansible playbook, right? So we'll just give a small snippet. Let's say host web, say become yes. So there obviously there are documentations on this, right? There are documentations on Terraform and Ansible. You can read their documentations to to know how the code works, or if you want to configure anything, you can read their documentation. Let me just give you the small snippet. Nginx say state tab present, right? So this is just a small snippet. This is a small snippet of an Ansible code, right? So this is this is how this is like a recipe. that it uses to, this is like a small snippet for installing Nginx. Like after we have created the VM, we have created the T2 micro, then this snippet will install Nginx into that T2 micro, your instance, right? So so let's just do it like, so this is basically it, right? So when you can just play around with this, you can just play around with creating like a bucket, connecting your, but first obviously you have to have an account, an AWS as your a cloud provider account that you can use, right, to use all these tools, Terraform, Ansible, and all. So in our next class, we're going to go more deeper into Terraform's variables, the outputs, the modules, remote states, provisioners, real world infrastructure architecture, and also integrate Ansible into that flow, right? So you can create, we have created this next preview, variables, output modules, remote state, integrating Ansible. So thank you guys so much for joining the first class. A quick preview of infrastructure as code, what you can use it for as a developer, a cloud engineer, as a beginner. I would say let me say a small knowledge of cloud really will be important in this, in knowing this, right? But next class we'll go more deeper into the practical aspects of Terraform, and we'll get more understanding of it. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments or in the group, and I'll reply as soon as possible.